Medical school is not easy, marriage is not easy, and parenthood definitely is not easy. So you may be wondering, what's it like if we just combined all these things?
That proves my point. You're a crazy person.
If you're new here, my name is J.R. Smith. I'm a fourth-year medical student at the Mayo Clinic, and in this video, you're going to hear what the experience being married in medical school is like from both my perspective as well as the perspective of my wife. What were your expectations on what medical school would look like from the perspective of like a partner? So like you being my wife and starting med school with me, what did you expect it to look like?
I had no idea. Yeah, and I didn't really think about it. I was just like up for a new season in life. I mean, I knew like being a student in general is, you know, you're more busy. Whereas we were doing a research year, and so that time was more of your own. And then I just kind of expected it to just change to whatever the program had for you.
So as you can see, it's not uncommon for you and your partner to not even know what to expect. I think the only thing that I at least knew before starting medical school was that it was going to be busy. But if you or your partner are anything like Madison, you may be less concerned about the busyness and more confident in your ability to adapt. How busy did you think it was going to be compared to the season of life that we were before? So before we were kind of living, you know, working from 8 to 3 and then having basically 3 on to ourselves, outside of when I was studying for the MCAT. Did you feel like it was going to get significantly more busy?
Yes, but I knew that you would handle it like well, and it wouldn't like consume you or change our marriage. And so I wasn't like worried or really even thought about it like the way that you're asking it, because I just knew it wasn't going to change our life. We just would adapt to it and continue to make our marriage work, what was going on.
Got you. So you kind of came into it already in the mindset of we're going to enter different seasons in life no matter what, and our marriage is strong, it's going to continue to grow, and we'll be able to kind of adapt no matter what season has. I'm not really thinking about how busy it's going to be or how stressed things are going to be. You're just more so confident in our ability to adapt. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Yep. We had our priorities in line, and once those are established and like the cornerstone of the relationship, then everything else is fine.
Yeah.
It works out.
For us, focusing on the ability to adapt allowed us to run full speed ahead into this new season of life. But I do have to say that the process of adapting is usually not the smoothest road. What did that first year, like, was it like, oh, this is what I expected, or were there certain things that was like different?
Well, obviously at the beginning, it was like a whiplash, because I think it was more of a whiplash for you. But then I was like, whoa, is this how it's going to be the next 4 years? You didn't know either that the learning curve at the beginning of med school is the hardest part about med school, I think.
Yeah,
and just figuring out, like, how do I study? How do I learn? There's so many resources and tools. What do I do? And it's hard. And I think that was like...
And you felt that?
Yeah, because you didn't sleep. Like, you slept maybe 2 hours. And it was at like 4 to like 6 a.m. I felt bad for you, because it was a really stressful time, and I didn't know how to help that situation.
Got you. Now, I really hope that you won't have nights of 2 hours of sleep. I definitely do not recommend that. But when I started medical school, I was exposed to so many different resources and learning techniques, and I just felt the need to experiment with all of them. And finding out what worked best is basically what the majority of my videos are about, so hopefully if you watch those, you'll have less of a steep learning curve. But I definitely would not have gotten through that period or any challenges without my wife, Madison. You did everything that I would have ever wanted and more. I remember you bringing me like tea and stuff, and it's like midnight and running like a little bit of coffee.
Try to like take care of like your basic needs.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, and that really meant a lot and made it feel like we were kind of going through something kind of together. And I think when you do go through hard seasons in medical school together, because there's going to be like multiple, like step can be stressful, certain days in clerkship can be stressful.
Months.
Yeah, seriously. Away rotations can be stressful. So it's like you're going to go through those seasons where you have the stress. And I think for me, like going through it as like the student, it felt in like and more empowering knowing that kind of we were going through it together. But at the same way, when we do bring you into a space that's stressful, for us it helps alleviate some of the stress, but it's almost like it adds it onto you. I think it's just important for people to be conscious of the, you know, of their own kind of personal emotional like well-being, and if that starts like veering certain ways, like your partner's gonna feel that.
But on the flip side too, when you share how you feel, you can like also reflect on your feelings. And so that's a good time to like, you know what, I need to share how I'm feeling. It's been a while since I've done that. Like, let me check on my emotions right now. How am I feeling? And then communicating with me or vice versa. Knowing how you're feeling can help me talk to you.
When you enter difficult seasons, you should expect periods of high stress. And becoming aware of our emotions has become a critical part of our success. And this brings me to the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. BetterHelp makes starting therapy easier than ever before. After completing a brief onboarding process, you'll be paired with one of over 30,000 therapists who are best suited to fulfill your preferences and needs. To get started, you just simply fill out a questionnaire and you'll be paired with your therapist usually within 48 hours. And what's amazing is if you feel like your therapist isn't a perfect fit, you can easily switch therapists with a click of a button. Madison and I have actually been in a really good place lately, but we have a very important decision coming up related to where we'll be going for residency. So just having someone objective that we can talk to together has been huge. Whether you're currently struggling with your mental health or not, therapy can be a game-changing resource for you to live a happier and healthier life. And now you can join over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to accomplish just that. Use the link in the description below to get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. Now back to our experience being married in medical school with another huge tip that has been essential to our success.
I think something that we've learned throughout the 4 years that's helped both of us is sharing what you need and what I need. So like, let's look at this week and see what we have scheduled, what you have upcoming that you're going to be preparing for. You need 3 hours to stay uninterrupted, XYZ. So like talking about like what you're hoping the week looks like, so we're on like the same page, and vice versa, like expectations, and communicating those before the week starts. That way I can support what you have going on, and I know that that's what you're working on or that you're thinking about. And I think that's like one of the biggest things is talking about what's going to be happening in the week and what to expect.
We literally have a physical calendar hanging in our kitchen that has everyone's schedule on it, and we also share each other's calendars virtually, so there's never any question about what we have going on. This has been huge in managing expectations, especially when a baby came into the picture. How did things change or evolve when Kari came into the picture?
Well, initially when he was just little, like the time wasn't as, there wasn't much of a change because I was just holding him.
Yeah.
We were both sleep deprived.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we're talking about sleep deprived, I'm talking about not having a full night's rest for at least 6 months after our son Kari was born. And when I say we, I'm talking about Madison. Because in all honesty, she definitely deserves all of the credit, but we have focused on designing our lives to get the most out of each other's strengths.
Now that I'm not teaching anymore and home full time.
Right.
I don't know, it's like a natural thing, so I'm not like really thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
It just adds another layer of like scheduling, which I love. So.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, because now you get to kind of play with my schedule, your personal schedule, because you have things that you have going on with just like, you know, teach as you learn and all that kind of stuff. And then Kari's schedule, which is, you know, you're the lead manager of that, of course. So, you know, you have like so many different kind of things to balance and organize, but I think that that's like your strong suit is this organization and scheduling and management. So you may be wondering, what's next? Well, I briefly hinted at this earlier with the next season of life for us, which is residency. A season where I'm likely to work 80 plus hours a week and essentially just live at the hospital. Are there fears that you have about what residency will look like as a wife with children?
So when you were doing like your rotations, sub-Is, aways, obviously aways were tough because Kari didn't see you for 2 months, which was like making me even like choke up, because that just like was really hard for me to watch Kari like ask for you and get really sad and stuff. So that was like really hard. And when you were home, but you were like pulling really long hours, and he didn't see you for even multiple days at a time while you were home, or here in Rochester. And so I like that was really hard because Kari didn't see you, and it just so, and I know that that's going to be more frequent in residency.
No, I think that's like the hardest part of it for me too, is just feeling like my absence is, like letting you or letting Kari down. And I'm sure anyone who comes into, medical school, residency, married with children, wanting to grow a family, it's like so hard because your time is no longer your own. Like I have so much of my own time right now, which is fantastic because I feel like I can like, really just be home and around you and Kari, and that's like, my favorite place to be. But when like my time's not my own and I have 24-hour shifts and I'm working, 6 to 7 days a week, 80 plus hours a week or whatever, I know that there's going to be a part of me, like even at work, just like, man, I hope I'm not failing my wife and my son and like really letting them down.
I think you're doing the opposite. You're making us like very proud, and like we know those things are uncontrollable, and I know you would rather be home at some of those times, you know? So like being that superhero that he sees you as.
Now, I'm not going to lie, being away from Kari for any period of time is incredibly hard and sometimes has me questioning how I am as a father or how Kari sees me. But Madison has helped provide me with so much relief just by how intentional she has been in making Kari feel loved by me even when I'm not there. People who want to have children and want to be really involved in their children's life like can see just a busy schedule as something that really conflicts with that, and like could potentially be like damaging for that relationship, which is just like I think a fear that a lot of people would have when they're super busy but also really want to be involved in their children's lives. But I think I just like really applaud you, and I'm thankful for you for your ability to like make Kari feel loved by me even if I'm not there. And you're very intentional about that.
And I like including like what you're doing at work, and he can like learn what you're doing, like with his stethoscope and hearing his own heartbeat and learning what it sounds like, and just like, oh, that's what dad does, like dad's a doctor, he's and so like really teaching him like what you were doing, which is like really fun as well. But that's it for this video. Hopefully it provided a bit of clarity and maybe even some encouragement, and shout out to my absolutely stunning, talented, beautiful, and just all around incredible wife, Madison. She definitely makes this ship go, and I would not be where I am without her. But as always, keep evolving. And we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya. I wasn't even listening to the question I was trying to I got so nervous.